gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am Rob, sometimes known as Omnisci or as Rob the Dungeon Tutor in my various YouTube channels. Today, I am taking part in RPGaDay 2022, which of course is a movement designed to try to uplift the community, give positive influence and inspiration, and maybe even be a little entertaining along the way. Today is the 5th day of August, so I have the 5th question to wrestle with today. Now, prior to this, they've been asking a lot of questions about first times. So, who would you like to introduce into a game? When were you introduced? When was I introduced myself? What is a great starting RPG? And I've answered those questions. Now we go on to, they asked, where would I like to run a first game? And this question is, why will they like this game? Okay, so that's kind of two parts. It's a little vague. Why will they like the game? Either the game itself, which I posited would be something like Swords and Wizardry, which gives you all the fun of fantasy fare without all the crunchy hard rules that a newcomer might really have a problem with. This is simple and easy to use, very lightweight, but still you can tell great stories with it. Why will they like the game, or why would they like the actual game that I would run? And I'll answer both of them at once, honestly. First of all, I've been running games for decades. Decades. If you do something often enough, you get good at it, generally speaking. As long as you don't get locked into a lot of bad habits that constantly pull away from what makes you good at something. If you learn from your mistakes, you genuinely try to get better at your craft, you look for inspiration all over the place, and you make yourself better by trying new things, pushing your boundaries, and learning from your experiences. After some almost 35 years, I like to think I'm pretty good. I'm trying not to have an ego or anything, but I like to think I run a pretty good game. So, number one for the answer to that is because I work really hard when somebody is new to a game to try to make them feel welcome, to not overwhelm them, and to give them an honest-to-goodness chance to enjoy and participate in that game. Case in point, I just welded together a new role-playing group this year. And we have been going through a variety of role-playing games. Many of them brand new to the people who are participating in this group, including the Game Master, me. So, how do I do it? Some people would really think this is crazy. Why would you run a game for 2 or 3 weeks, let people learn the rules, and then instantly go to another game? 2 reasons. I have faith in my players that they are engaged, interested, exceptionally intelligent, and are capable of working together, accepting the conventions of the game, and genuinely want to have fun. And number 2, I believe that it makes them better. I believe that they are learning things with every new game, just as I am with every new game. Learning how to do a comedy game. People who've only ever done hard fantasy wrestle with comedy sometimes. And they can wrestle with horror sometimes. And they can wrestle with crunchy systems if they've ever known soft and open systems that are very light and easy to use. Well, going to something that's very crunchy can be complicated. So I think that it's good to have a variety of experiences. And honestly, I need to knock my own rust off because I've moved on from some of those harder and crunchier games too, but it's still something that I find value in. So that's why I do this. But how does this help with somebody who just comes in? Because I know that coming into a new game has a set of challenges. Every player comes into a game at a different level. And I like to think that I level the playing field. If you have a problem with math, for instance, math will never be a problem in my game. I can cover, because I can do the math up here myself pretty quick. And I can cover not only my math, but also the math for most of my players. So if somebody is really struggling, they can't grasp the math, but they have the imagination and the desire, I'll make sure that math is not a barrier to entry. If they don't have a copy of the rules, and they've never learned how to play this game, and they come in to the table, they have nothing to fear, because waiting for them will be a cheat sheet with a synopsis of the rules, a synopsis of what their character knows, a pre-gen character sheets so they don't have to go through learning how to make a character and then get ready to learn how to play the rules. And I will simplify and streamline it down to just tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you how we can get there. And that, I think, is very important for newcomers to the game, is feeling like they can participate. What they do matters, and they don't have to get swallowed up by overly complicated rules or having to memorize and do work to play in a game. I used to play Star Wars Galaxies. I know what it's like to work while you're playing in a game. I was a weapon crafter, it happened. But as far as that barrier, I want to smash it. I want my players to feel like they can play the game and participate equally well, no matter what their level of personal skill is. Number 2, I know the value of having an immersive game that does everything it can to snare your imagination and help you to live in your player character's shoes. For instance, pieces of art so that you can experience what your character sees. I have learned from my friends at GUI Cube how valuable that is. And if I was going to bring somebody into the game, I would sure try to find pieces of art that supplement what I'm saying. It's fantastic to be such a good narrator that every word that you say is a paintbrush drawn across a beautiful mural of the scenescape. But much as I like to think I'm a wordsmith, sometimes those pictures can be awfully darn handy. Again, just running the GUI Cube adventures that I've run has demonstrated to me amply that I need to work on my handout game considerably. Also, if you're trying to get a sense of scope and scale, seeing something in front of you can be very powerful. So if I show you that your character is, for instance, and you'll have to excuse my messiness, is this large, and you're going up against a creature that is, say, somebody who's less of a hack. Okay, you're going up against a gelatinous cube. A gelatinous cube? What's a gelatinous cube? Well, what if I say it's this? Aw, it's so cute, it's little Goobert. He's right here, little Gooey. He's no threat until he starts eating your legs. But if I get a miniature of a full 10-foot tall gelatinous cube that would be this big, all of a sudden, just seeing that, you know your character's in trouble, and you would act accordingly. So that can help quite a bit. Also, I can cut out the rest of the world to some extent here, and I can isolate distractions. Distractions are terrible for immersing a person. So I can say, please turn off your phone. Now, here's a place of imagination. I'll give you something to do that'll be infinitely more interesting than your Facebook feed or that free game you downloaded onto your phone. Just put it aside for now. You can always go back to it later, but let's play a game together here. Or I can play music and supplement what we do with the music that I would bring to bear. Those are pretty important things, I believe, that really can help uplift a person's imagination, put them into the space. And just another thing to add on to it. Finally, and I'm going to let my ego go a little bit here, but I believe I tell a pretty good game. I let the players have their agency. They can say what they want to do, and they can count on me to be fair and try to help them be cool, because I am ultimately on the player side. I want them to tell a great experience. And I didn't just screw that up. I want them to tell, I want to hear in their own words what their character is doing that's so cool, and talk out that experience. I want to enjoy it with them. As much as they're imagining it, I want them to bring it forth for the shared imagination of everybody at the table. Even if that's just them and me, I want to bring that to life. I want them to be authors of their character's destiny. And even though the dice might stick their finger in your eye every chance they get, and that happens down here enough, it's still something of great value and personal worth that no other medium, I swear, no other medium can give you that in the way that tabletop role-playing games can. Once you get a taste for it, there's no real substitute. And believe me, I've heard on social media people languishing. I lost my group 5 years ago and I haven't had another group since, and I miss it so much. Yeah, I would too. If I lost my group and I couldn't just whip together another group and I had to sit and, design things without people playing and not having that outlet to give my energy to give my passion to, I would go a certain kind of crazy about it. Fortunately, and we'll just hope that everything continues to go as blessedly as it has, that I've had a steady group. I've got a circle of friends. I have other friends who also would love to play. I just don't have room for them at the moment. It's not likely that I will be bereft of a group, but it's still, when you've got that, don't ever take that for granted, people out there. If you've got a solid group of great players, enjoy it. Because there's any number of people out there who had that and lost it and never find back the same level of quality. So always remember that. But those are the reasons why I think somebody from outside, if I'm going to pitch a game to you, it's going to be, come enjoy a game. You can take it however you want. If you want to do the cool thing of exploring a dungeon at the level of my mind that I've constructed specially for you, to give you an excellent story of suspense, action, drama, whatever you're looking for, you tell me what you want and I'll customize something for you, and it's going to be something that will shake you to your core, or it'll get your blood pumping, or I'll paint a picture for you of, if you love a particular intellectual property. I love Star Wars, for instance. Great, I can tell a great Star Wars story for you, make you the main character of your own mini movie, and we can have a heck of a time in a single episode. I can give you the music for it. I can give you the visuals for it. The whole thing brought to life for you, customized for you, so that you can tell the kind of story you're looking for. How many other games can do that for you? Even video games, you're stuck playing by the rules of that game. In a tabletop game, that's not a limitation, really. It doesn't have to be. So, that's my pitch. And that really is what this question is a pitch. If I'm going to put this out there, why would you love to play my game if you've never played a game before? Because you can come here, we can have a thrilling experience with the fun things that I've collected over my years, my experiences, my passion for the hobby, all of that distilled into a 3 to 4 hour long session where you can get the character that you're imagining, and you can do cool and amazing things with that. Pretty cool, I think. And again, as far as hobbies go, this is about as inexpensive of a hobby as you can get, because what is it going to cost you if you were to come here brand new and learn how to play role-playing games? It would cost you, I would recommend getting your own dice, if our game uses dice. I would recommend possibly getting a book down the road, but if you don't want to even commit to that, that's not even an issue. As long as somebody has a book, you're good. So that's it, just time. Hey, I even provide the character sheets and pencils, because I'm, generous like that and stuff. It's really no burden. Goodness knows I've got enough lying around. So, yeah. I think you'd have a great time if it was your first time playing and you came and you wanted to try something with me. I've got worlds to show you. And someday, maybe, after you've got a taste for it, maybe you keep playing, maybe you find a group of your own, maybe you want to try running games one of these days. We can have that conversation too. But for right now, we've successfully answered the question for today. And a very good question it was. So, I hope this finds you at a place where if you yourself are a gamer, maybe you think back on all of those times back when you were just learning how to play, the thrills of the first times, all these different things have happened to you. maybe your first character death, that loss, maybe that first monster that you killed, maybe that first time you saved the world. And they're all special. That's something we keep inside. That's the currency that these games give us in our hobby. Maybe you also think, hopefully, meeting somebody else who's having their first time, and there's more and more of them all the time, thank goodness. Maybe cutting them some slack when they're taking their first faltering steps and they're reaching out for help and advice. It's easy to be dismissive of something that you've been doing for decades. It's easy to not really try to empathize with other people's problems and just kind of laugh at a situation rather than offer concrete help. Yeah, sometimes you might want to lighten the mood a little bit, but, you know, if there's a question out there and somebody's really perplexed or really hurting, maybe use that as an opportunity to see how you can draw them in more, make them more comfortable in the hobby, and make the hobby better in return. We're richer for all the different voices that are in it. Remember that. All these new people who are coming in, they're a different voice, and they'll steer the games in different directions. But it'll be good. It'll be good. So, that's my answer to this question. Thank you for joining me. I am Rob, Omnicide, Dungeon Tutor, what have you. And again, if you yourself have anything you'd like to share about this topic, feel free to leave it in the comments, or you can go to the Dungeon Tutor group in the Facebooks, or you can go to my Omnicide page in the Facebooks. Feel free to contact me. I would be deliriously happy if you did any of those, and we'll respond, possibly even with a new video just for you about the subject you're curious about or want to talk about. But always, thank you, and I hope that you continue to fare well. Farewell.